Next up is Luay. Luay is a mid-career student here at the Kennedy School. Something that you might not know about Luay, that when he was 14, he snuck into the pyramids of Egypt to lay down in the tomb of King Tutankhamun. Or at least that's how we pronounce it in Arabic. Luay is going to share his story of being Arab-Israeli, his path towards working for the Israeli government, and his views on changing Israeli society by engaging from within. Please welcome Luay to the stage.
Let's go back 60 years in time to the year 1956. Precisely October 29th, 1956. Soldiers, Israeli soldiers, entered the small Arab village in Israel called Kfar Qasim. They shot, killed, murdered 49 innocent people. Among them, women, children, and men. They were all been slaughtered, just being Arabs. As many of these stories, a few people managed to survive and to run away. One of them was an 11-year-old boy named Abdallah. He hid in the bushes and remained silent. He watched in his own eyes Israeli soldiers killing his neighbors, friends, family members, and yet remained silent. 29 years later, Abdallah became a man, a husband, and a father. He used to take his kids to that specific place where the massacre occurred, to mourn, to remember, but mostly to tell the story to his kids. One day, one of his sons asked, "Do you hate them, father?" He said, "No." "Should we fight back? Should we seek revenge? Should we kill them as they did to us?" Abdallah smiled and said, "Absolutely not." So his kid was so angry. And he said, "What is wrong with you? These people came to your village, killed 49 of your own people. You by yourself were killed almost there. You're teaching us to love them?" Abdallah smiled and said, "Son, I teach you to reject hatred from your heart. When you learn to do that, you will find the way to forgive and to move on." Simple words, but a lesson for life. That young boy was me. Abdallah is my father. I'm an Arab Israeli. Yes, Arab, Muslim, and also Israeli. I am one of 1.8 million Arabs who live in Israel carrying the Israeli identity. We're citizens of Israel. Most of the people don't know about our existence even. When I first came here to the Kennedy School, people started to communicate with me. "What is your job? What is your name? Where do you come from?" And I said, "Israel." So I said, "Oh my God, I have this relative in this Tel Aviv. I visited Jerusalem. I have this and I have that. And oh, you poor people, all these Arab, what are you doing? They're terrible things to you." So I replied, "But I'm an Arab. I'm a Muslim. And you should see the reaction in their faces." So why I'm telling you this story? I'm 37 years old now. And I had enough of hatred. I had enough of bloodshed. I had enough of wars. I had enough of being minority in us versus them. Yes, it's always about us versus them. Hatred, wars, bloodshed between Arabs and Jews started way before the massacre in my village. And unfortunately, it's still continuing until this day. When people in both sides, led by militants, extremists, calling themselves leaders, filling their people with hatred, revenge, the consequences always will be devastating. As a minority in Israel, we have been discriminated systematically by the government. It's a fact. I myself have been discriminated against and intimidated hundreds of times through my life. And still. Sometimes, to be honest, I wish I could just revenge. I wish I could humiliate the people who did that to me, to my family. However, I never did. Because hatred will lead to more bloodshed. And I had enough. Sometimes, as a minority, we forget that we are citizens in Israel. We have rights. And we have also duties. And if you want to make a change, and to change that hostile environment and atmosphere between Arabs and Jews in Israel, the change must start from within, with us. I can't blame the Israeli government alone. Did you know that since 1949, we, the Arab Israelis, sent 95 representatives to the Israeli government and to the parliament? And through all these years, they have been in the opposition side. They reject the other side. They refuse to engage. And I'm asking why? Why not to be within the governmental coalition? Why not to be within the decision makers? To seek high positions, to bring resources, budgets, benefits to our community. Why to fill our people with hatred against the other? Why to tell us and ask us to treat Jews as our enemies? And they're not. Did you know that 52% of my community live under the poverty line? Almost 1 million people. Isn't that enough to hate the other? Part of that, yes, because of the system of Israel. But part of that, because of us. And this is a fact also. We have been out of the game for the last 5 decades. We choose to refuse, to reject, to hate. Shouldn't the loyalty of our representatives be first to their community, to their people, to the people who vote for them and send them to that seat in the parliament? Why to play the victim side all the time? Fortunately, I had a mentor, a father, who taught me how to reject hatred and to move on, not to be stuck in the past. So I did. For the last 16 years, I worked with the Israeli government. Through my position as a sports supervisor in the Ministry of Culture and Sport in Israel, I used my authority and my power to close the gap between Arabs and Jews in Israel. You should see the kids fighting to win with smile in the battle of sport instead of the battle of war and hatred. It's not too late to change. Which reminds me, a few years later, I was heading in the north in Israel. I was driving my car when I saw an Israeli soldier with his uniform. I slowed down and I asked him where to, and he said, I'm heading to my base in the north. Can I go with you? And I said, come on, jump in. I was listening to the news in the Hebrew channel when suddenly they were reporting about an incident, shooting incident in Jerusalem. An Arab guy shot and killed Jews. So this soldier immediately started to yell, we should kill them all, savages, we should burn them, they don't deserve to live. I wish I was there to shoot them all with my gun. He didn't know that I was an Arab, and I was driving. So I switched the channel to the Arabic language. I said, maybe he will get the sign. Unfortunately, the same channels use the same broadcast in Hebrew. What should I do? So I hit the button, and I called my wife, and I said, hi, honey, how are you? How's the kids? She was a little bit suspicious, and she said, why are you calling me in the middle of the day? I'm married to an Arab woman. And when I hang up, he stares at me, and I said, thank God. Finally, he got the message. Instead, he said, oh my God, brother, your Arabic is so fantastic. Where did you learn to speak like that? I said, what do you want me to say more? But the truth is, he knew that he was in a big dilemma, in a complicated situation. So I called him and I said, listen, first, I don't hate you, and I don't desire to kill you. And if you think that we're savages and we deserve to die, it's your beliefs. I will do nothing to change that. But here's my business card. Before you leave my car, just in case. A few weeks later, that soldier called me and he apologized and he said, it's not too late for me to admit that I was wrong. It's not too late for me to admit that I need to change my attitude toward your people. You're not all the same. So that soldier took my father's path to reject hatred, to forgive, and to move on. In my direct message to both people in Israel, to the Arabs, and also to the Jews, but precisely to my representatives, my leaders. I'm not asking that we eliminate our past. I'm not asking that we should forget people who died and lost their lives, houses, family members, and lands. No, this is our past. This is our history. We should remember that. I'm just asking for a new start, to move on, to reject hatred, to make an effort for a better future. If not for us, at least for our kids. Because it's not too late. It's not too late. Thank you.
Thank you, Luay, for sharing your powerful story with us and for sharing your father's legacy as well. It lives on.